what is it like being a black woman in Vietnam so far?
Okay, this is going to sound strange, but I'm not that aware of my blackness.
Okay.
I am, but I don't feel on guard. I feel respected.
Okay.
I feel like people are inquisitive, but it's like a fascination.
Okay.
But it's not overbearing.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the Melanated Files. My name is Ramzo and I'm your host, and today I'm joined by Deisha. We are in Vietnam in this yoga room. Y'all see me like kneeling down, right? I may last 5 minutes, I'm not Japanese, but let's see what happens, right? So Deisha, thank you so much for sharing your story with us.
Yes.
Right? So
yes.
Tell the world who you are and why did you come to Vietnam?
So, I came to Vietnam by accident, actually.
Okay, really?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I left the States a couple months ago, September 5th, on a healing journey.
Wow.
And I decided to leave for a month for every year that I had lived in the Bay Area, just as like a major reset that I wasn't getting by going to like Jamaica or Bahamas. I felt like I needed to really put myself in a different space, space physically. So I started in Bali because, you know, that's just where people say you can go and you get all this healing and it's great and it's wonderful and beautiful, and I hated it. I absolutely
What didn't you like about it?
I felt like an opportunity. I felt like when I went there with the intention of like living and having an authentic experience, I felt like I was expected to be a tourist, and I did not want to be a tourist. I just wanted to be, like, literally just be there, and that didn't work for me.
Okay.
So in the end, it just felt heavy for me. I was not comfortable. I didn't feel relaxed. And I just felt like this is not what I left the country for. Like, I could stay, you know, somewhere else and be more comfortable in uncomfortableness than this. So instead of staying there for 6 weeks like I planned, I ended it at 3 weeks. And before like deciding where I was going to go next, I was like, well, let me find someplace that's still close to here where I can get a flight where I don't have to have a layover. And
those layovers are rough.
The layovers are rough, and they are irritating when you are in a different country because like you get the whole looks and the stares, and you know, you can deal with that to some point, but when you've been someplace for 3 weeks that you don't want to be, you don't want to have any more extra stuff. So I actually did a little research, but before I did the research, I was deciding between Thailand and Vietnam. And I was like, and my thing is being close to the water. So I, you know, thought about Vietnam and Thailand and was doing research online. And where I wanted to go in Thailand was like more expensive than I wanted to be, like Phuket. And then it looked like very touristy, and I was like, that's just not, you know, that's not my life.
Bali number 2.
I was like, Bali number 2 is not what I'm trying to experience today. So I actually went to sleep one night and had a dream where my uncle that's passed away was in the Vietnam War, and he like came to me in a dream and was like, you need to go to Vietnam.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So I was like, okay, Vietnam it is. And I started looking for places by the water and places that, you know, the dollar would go far.
It goes far.
It goes very, very, very far here. And I was also looking for places that wouldn't be very touristy. So I stumbled upon Phu Quoc Island, and the things that I read were that people were saying that it was boring. And I was like, boring? That's what I need right now. I need boring. I don't need that. Because in Bali, I had this feeling of, I don't want to be a tourist, but then I see all these people's pictures that look like they're having amazing times, and, you know, and I'm like, there's still that level of like FOMO. That's like, I want to have that experience, but I don't really want to have that and I don't want to be tempted to try to have that. It does. It gives you a picture.
Want something you don't want.
Right.
Or you don't need.
And that you don't need, and that you clearly don't want, but you keep seeing it, and that's, you know, again, like that's how visualization works. When you see something over and over again, you start to draw it in, and you start to want to experience it. And I had to realize that's not the experience that I wanted to have. So Phu Quoc Island was boring. I was like, that's where I'm going. And I found an Airbnb ask a lot of questions that I didn't ask before I went to Bali. And I went there and it was amazing.
Wow.
I stayed like in a neighborhood. There were roosters that woke me up in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Which was great for a while until they started roostering earlier and earlier and earlier. Like it started at 6:30 and by the time I left it was like 4:30 in the morning. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
But isn't that what the change of the seasons?
I
guess.
guess.
It gets sun rises earlier or something?
I mean, like it's hard to really understand even that concept when you're not in the States where you've got daylight savings time and stuff like that, because to me it's like it's just daylight. You need to crow or rooster once and then you're done, but that's not how the rooster works. Like it goes all day long and starts early. So I was there for several weeks and decided that okay, I'm ready to go to the mainland. Is that
a part of Vietnam?
It is a part of Vietnam.
Okay.
It's an island off the coast of southern Vietnam, obviously, and it's very close to Cambodia.
Okay.
Like I could have gone to Cambodia quicker than I could have come to here in Da Nang where I am. That's how close it is. And I actually did consider Cambodia, but I was like, I don't know nothing about Cambodia, so I'm not gonna go there.
And then your uncle said Vietnam.
And my uncle said Vietnam, and he was my favorite uncle. He's passed away. And he, on my mom's side of the family, we really connected because we like did things that people didn't really normally do. Like in the 60s, he was a hippie, you know, like, and like I do things that people are like, what are you doing and why are you doing this? So there's a part of me that feels like I'm living out his experiences.
Okay.
And like he's happy that I'm here and wanted me to come here. So my time was up on the island, or it was coming to an end, and I had someone that was coming to visit me, and I was like, there's no way we are going to live in each other's face for a week on this island because there ain't nothing to do. It's not going to work. So I decided to come to Da Nang, where I am now, and I decided here because it's close to the water, and it's not. And I saw that it was still being developed. So I felt like even if there were tourists here, it wouldn't be like the same as going to Saigon or Ho Chi Minh or going to Hanoi. And I've been here for 2 months and it's been great. Like I love it here. Absolutely love it here.
Did you feel like you got the healing you were seeking on that island? Or?
Yeah, I definitely got the healing that I was seeking on that island. I got a lot of perspective. I got a lot of time to just like do nothing, relax, walk to the beach or not, you know, just be immersed in a space where, you know, even though I may have been stared at, you know, like I was in Bali and other places, I could really feel it was curiosity. And, you know, that's where Google Translate like really came in handy because, you know, that's how we communicated, or how I communicated with a lot of people was the conversation part on Google Translate. Because without that, it's kind of like,
and you're wondering what's going on.
And they're wondering what's going on, and I'm wondering what's going on, and it doesn't work.
So what are you doing in Vietnam right now?
What am I doing in Vietnam right now? That's a funny question because I'm just here.
You're just being.
I'm just being, and that was really a big thing that I wanted with this journey is to be in another place because. You know, it's not that I necessarily am escaping problems or escaping things. It's just being able to be with myself, to allow myself to heal the things that I've been through without having, you know, not even the pressures, but just the chatter of day-to-day life that, you know, we experience in the States.
So what was it in the States that you felt like you needed to remove yourself away from?
So I am originally from Charleston, South Carolina, and I moved to California right after I graduated college, and I lived in LA. And I was like, oh, this is where my people are. Like, I was never supposed to be born in South Carolina. I was supposed to be a Cali girl. Like, and even my uncle that I mentioned, he used to call me Valley Girl because of the way that I speak. So I was like, oh, now I get why you call me Valley Girl because it makes sense. But while I was there, I always had this pull to the Bay Area, and I couldn't explain it. Don't know anybody there. It has a lot of hills and mountains, which I don't like. why the Bay Area. But when I would tell people that that's where I wanted to go, they would be like, that's where your people are. So, and I've lived in Atlanta, Georgia. I've lived in the DC area. I've lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've lived in different parts of the country and traveled around in different parts of the country. So when I would hear this, I was like, okay, this is going to be like my Mecca. Like Oakland is going to be the place where I will land and everything will make sense, where I will land and all of the random pieces of my life will come together. And and I'll like it'll just be like this Pollyanna moment and everything will just be like great.
And it didn't. Right?
And it wasn't. It was not. It was like the first month I was there, I cried every night. Like legit cried. Like, what have you done to yourself? Because I had no friends. I had no family. I was dating someone that I met online, and like I had him. But like, who puts all that pressure on one person? That's a lot.
Husbands and wives?
I mean, but he was not my husband. So he would go to work, and before I went to work, I would cry sometimes, or before he would come home from work, I would cry and just. But I'm also a crier, and it's cleansing, and but I experienced it's very difficult to move to the Bay Area without connections.
Okay.
I mean, I've made my connections, I've done things, but my idea of what this utopia that I was going to did not exist. And I experienced, trying to connect with people and friendships and, seeing them one place and it'd be all good, and then seeing them out like a couple weeks later and they act like they don't know who I am.
Oh, wow.
And that happened
in the Bay.
Yeah, that happened in the Bay, and that happened on more than one occasion. And then I would encounter other people new to the area that had happened to them as well. And I was like, oh, is this? It's like, what's happening with the Bay? Like, why am I not getting any love? But I had to understand the history of people coming into the Bay Area, which is very similar to people. The word infiltrate just like keeps popping up in my head, but the similar thing is happening in Charleston with gentrification and people being pushed out of their homes. And I had to recognize that even though I'm Black and even though I wanted to connect with my people there, I symbolize a disconnection for them. And so when I understood and respected that a little differently, I mean, sure, it still hurt to see people that, acted like they didn't know me, but I understood more of where that was coming from. Because it's like, well, how long is she even going to be here? What is she here for? It's the idea that people are coming there to take, and not really to build and connect, which is what I, thought that I was coming for.
Like, what do you do? I know you said be.
Oh, yeah, so.
But,
So I am what you would call a get your whole life together coach.
Okay.
Yes. And I came up with that term actually from one of my previous clients because I hated calling myself a life coach because I feel like everybody, is calling themselves life coach or health coach. And I have experience in those areas, but I also have experience working with business owners, which I started as like a business consultant, which is how I've come to this point. But what I do is I work with people, primarily people of color, to get out of their own way in different areas of their lives. So get your whole life together. So sometimes it starts with business, and then we realize that they have a relationship with money that they need to adjust, so that they can, allow money to come in, or they have a relationship with not delegating, or they have a thing with, realize like not doing all the other pieces of a business and just wanting to focus on what makes them happy, which is great, which is good, but you got to delegate, you got to hire people or companies or what have you to help you in order to make those things happen. So it's showing people, that you can still have the fun, but find other people who their fun is what is your headache. There's some people that love to do what you don't want to do. And that's their lane. So give them their stuff and you work on your stuff. And
Okay.
yeah, and I've helped people with. I'm also a licensed real estate agent in California, so I'm understanding that process and helping people with their credit and getting to a point so they can, invest in themselves with business or with residential properties, things like that. So, and I also in this space here, teaching yoga, and I'm doing that.
That's why I'm the mat.
Yeah, that's why we're sitting here, lovely. Yeah.
Y'all got the vibe, right? You got some side? I think you did.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you like? What you want to continue with that?
Well, I was gonna say I'm doing the yoga because I realize that I spend so much time like in front of a screen because I'm seeing people, over Zoom and online.
I see. Okay.
It's like I need to like reconnect with people in person and not just be behind a screen. So that's why I'm doing it. Like this teaching yoga is also to reclaim something that was a bit shattered in Oakland as well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Oakland did you bad, eh?
And I don't want to say because Oakland didn't do it, but I tell people I was like, this Oakland is not for the faint at heart, and there is a reason why the team is called the Warriors, because you got to be a warrior to survive. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the thing.
What do you like the most about being in Vietnam?
What do I like the most? I like that the dollar goes very far. I really, really like that because I like to eat different kinds of foods, and I like that I can eat for a whole day for like $10, or not even that much if I play it right.
It's crazy. I'm just harping on how cheap it is. I'm just like, it's dirt cheap.
It's
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
so
and the people, like the people are very welcoming. They are hospitable. They are inquisitive, but they're respectful. And I feel like there is this unspoken connection because I'm Black and because of the war here.
Okay.
That there is just there's just an unspoken thing. I haven't quite figured it out.
Is it like what, an understanding, or what would?
It's almost like a respect.
Okay.
A respect and an understanding. Like there's an oppression, a mutual oppression that is not openly spoken about, but is definitely you're aware of.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Is there anything that maybe is a little bit of a pet peeve so far? No?
Pet peeve. No, like in that, it's funny you say that because I had more pet peeves when so I'll go on visa runs, and that just means that I, have to leave the country so that I can extend my visa. Okay. And I have more pet peeves when I go someplace else than when I'm here. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get back home. Like, oh, I'm calling Vietnam home. Okay, this is a thing.
So what is your ambition for life in Vietnam? All right, so you're here now for like 2 months. And what about, let's say a year from now, what do you see yourself doing?
A year from now? I mean, honestly, I have no idea if I'll still be in Vietnam a year from now.
Okay.
But I had no idea that I would be here now. So, this whole journey has been about me allowing myself to be led where to go next. And, having an outline, but, writing that outline in pencil.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's a good one.
So the bullet points can be adjusted as necessary. I definitely do miss aspects of the States. I miss there are people there that I miss. But there are things that I definitely don't miss.
Beyond the people, what do you miss beyond people?
Amazon.
Oh, Amazon's not here?
There's no Amazon.
Oh, snap.
There's Lazada, which I just learned about, but it's not in English and it's not as prolific as Amazon. So I definitely miss Prime.
Okay.
And that's,
but you save money though, because you shop less.
Yeah.
Right? So that's probably a good way to spend it.
Definitely save money.
It's addictive to shop online.
It is. It's because it's so easy.
Right?
It's so
tomorrow
convenient.
you get, I want it today, tomorrow,
right.
same day.
And some things you can get like in a couple hours if you time it right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely miss that. I miss the Mexican food trucks in Oakland.
All right, that's good.
That's stuff. I miss that, definitely.
Like earlier you said you usually buy one-way tickets, right? And you go to a country.
Yeah.
Explain that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because I feel like well, it may inspire some people, because a lot of people, well, maybe not a lot, but some people are risk averse.
Yeah.
And they're like, but tell us about their experience.
And so funny, to me that doesn't feel like a risk.
Okay.
Because to me it's more of a risk to make myself do something that I may not want to do and put myself in a situation that I feel obligated to because I've bought a ticket. So if I had bought tickets for all the places that I had planned on going, I would not be here in Vietnam right now. That's for sure. And I would have had a different experience and what have you, but I may not have gotten all that I've gotten for these 2 months, almost 3 months that I've been in this space. So and I also say, like, I like to ball on a budget, and you can get really good one-way flights. If you don't have to be somewhere, on a certain day, you can, especially if you're traveling throughout Asia, you can get a last-minute ticket, cheaply, like very cheap, very, very cheap. And even my friend that came to visit, he got a one-way ticket here and bought his ticket to go back the day that he got here, which was for a week later. So it's not like you have to have everything planned out, because if you have everything planned out, then you don't leave room for you to do what may serve you better than the plan. Even if your dates and when you want to be someplace, and if you do have to be someplace, I mean, it just works out better in a lot of senses to do it as separate one-way tickets, because like you're saying, if something happens on one thing and you've got to shift things for a day or a couple of days, it's easier to shift that one part of a ticket versus you've already started on that journey and it's like you're locked in. So.
Yeah, then you lose all that money.
Then you lose all that money, yeah.
Okay, we need some Black Airlines, okay? And y'all just sponsor me to fly for free.
There you go.
Right?
I mean, me too. I'll take it.
Why not?
Right on.
So the next one is, I wanted to ask, so like, would you encourage other people to travel? Because like I've seen so many comments where people are like they're scared. Yeah. Right. Like, would you encourage people to do that?
Yeah.
And explain the experience, like how you felt doing that.
Yeah. I would definitely encourage people to travel. I mean, I still tell people, like, go to Bali. Like, I had my experience because I wasn't trying to be a tourist. Most people go to Bali as a tourist. Or they go there for a specific healing experience. I didn't do a whole lot of research, and I will own that. I did not do a lot of research at all.
Okay.
But that's how I do things. And I let my intuition, I let my gut lead me and guide
So you're
me.
like a free spirit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a free spirit with
some restraints.
With some restraints, yeah. Because I'm like, I'm not that free.
You're a longer cord.
But I recognize that I present as a free spirit.
Okay.
I present in a lot of different ways, honestly, depending on who you ask, who I'm interacting with.
Okay.
But yeah, I encourage people to travel. I think it's very important to travel, even to travel places that you may be concerned about not knowing the language. Like I've had 2 layovers throughout this travel in China.
Okay.
And my first one was not a good experience.
Okay.
Because of the staring, because of the pointing, because of people taking pictures.
Yeah.
And even though I was aware that happened, when it's happening to you, it can be quite unnerving. Especially when you're trying to read a sign to figure out what terminal you need to go to.
Trying to catch a plane. I missed my flight in China because of that. Too many pictures. I'm like trying to get through the crowd.
And it's like a real thing. And like I was trying to buy something in a store, and they brought somebody that was in line behind me to pay before me, and I was like, okay, thanks. And I left the stuff, and I just didn't.
Really?
Yeah. So even with those experiences, I mean, I would not go to China to stay or to, because I know people that teach in China, and I know people that, are doing their thing in China. China is not for me. Okay. But I still encourage people to have their own experience because, you may find something in China that, you connect with on a deep level. But, and I will say the second time I had a layover, I had a better experience. I stayed in one part of the terminal. I found a restaurant. Because I had learned from before, I don't want that negativity to cloud the next part of my journey, because that, you know, that takes a lot to like kind of shake off, because you go into the next place, like, you know, you're almost like on guard. And for me, being on guard is not what this journey is about. Like, it's being able to relax and let things flow instead of letting them be forced or making them be forced. Yeah.
What drives you? Like, I say this, I ask people, like, what's the wind beneath your wings that takes
my
you to
peace.
Your peace.
My peace. Yeah. My peace. Yeah, because it's definitely, it's not materialistic things. I mean, I've had those taken away, like that. Like, it's not that. My peace, and then also being able to make connections for people. Like, I find that I have an ability to see different people's points of views and kind of frame it in a way that the other person can understand it. And that gives me joy and excites me, which then brings me peace, because I feel like, oh, okay, my job there is done. You know, that's what drives me.
What is it like being a Black woman in Vietnam so far?
So far, it's been like it. Okay, this is gonna sound strange, but I'm not that aware of my Blackness.
Okay.
I am, but I don't feel on guard.
Okay.
I don't feel like, you know, I have to look behind me, or that I have to be concerned about my safety. I feel respected. I feel you know, like, people are inquisitive, but it's like a fascination.
Okay.
But it's not overbearing. You know what I mean? It's not like people in my face, like, hey, take my picture, or take a picture, or smile, which actually happened to me in Kuala Lumpur when I was shopping. Like, this dude put his phone in my face and was like, smile. I was like,
really?
No, we're not having that. Yeah, he was actually a foreigner, but he was a foreigner, and I know this because, like, we were in Central Market, which is a like marketplace in Kuala Lumpur, and I was like getting some souvenirs and trying to decide what shirts I wanted, and I saw him, like, you know, point the phone my direction once, and I looked up and I was like, you know, I'm not gonna give that any, and then he got closer and put the phone in my face, and I was like, excuse me, and, you know, then he walked away, and then he came back a third time, and he showed me that he was actually on FaceTime with what appear to be his 3 wives. I mean, I don't know who they are. I'm just making that's like the story I decided to tell for myself. I don't know who those 3 women were on the camera, but I'm saying those were his 3 wives. Okay. That could be racist. I hope it's not, but yeah. Okay. But he was basically telling me to smile for them. Okay. And I gave him some choice words, and you know, and a finger, which I don't know if he understood, because those are all American things to say too. But he could tell that I was not pleased, you know, but because who does that, you know? But nothing like that has happened here. Okay. You know what I mean? And even though that happened in Kuala Lumpur, that was not a Malay person. Okay. Is that, I think I'm saying that. Yeah. Malay, yeah. That was someone that was there from another country, clearly. So, but here, I mean, I've gotten into a routine. I've got, you know, in my neighborhood where I walk, you know, I see the same people and they wave, and, you know, even though we don't speak the same language, there's, you know, we know a few words in each other's language, and we share those, and, you know, it feels like home. Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, this was not my plan. This was not my expectation. I'm supposed to be going to Africa in a couple of weeks, and that's probably going to get delayed because of things that are starting to happen here. And I want to continue this experience. So
you want to follow the path.
I want to follow the path. I want to continue to allow myself to be led instead of feeling like I have to do something because of a particular date. You know, that's not what this journey is about, you know. And it's funny, it's like I realized that at some point I'm gonna need a vacation from this vacation. You know, like, and I don't even look at it as a vacation, but I don't, like, my stuff, most of my stuff is still back in Oakland, you know, so, and, you know, my dog was with my parents in South Carolina, so, you know, I sometimes remind myself I am an American, you know what I mean, and I still have certain American tendencies and American things that, you know, I miss and that I desire to experience, but, you know, I could be here until I'm ready to go back to the States.
And you've been there so long too, right? It's like you spent all your life there.
Right.
So
exactly.
Like,
it's like, this is a drop in the bucket.
Right?
Like,
In comparison.
Like, this is not a lot of time that I've been here.
I can't feel this. I literally, you know the tingle feeling?
Yeah.
It's almost dead. I think it's dead.
Oh no.
It's dead. Okay.
Give it a minute. Wiggle it out.
Yeah, so I can't feel my legs. Okay, this is not a Batman thing to do. Right, so yeah. I think this one is dead. So tell me, like, any advice for people who want to come here to visit or move, Black people?
Any advice? I'd say just do it. I really say just, you know, decide whether it's here or someplace else, decide what it is that you want to experience, and then look for a place that has that. You know, I was looking for a place that would be welcoming to Black people.
Okay.
That, you know, and I don't mean like, hey, Black woman, Black man. I just mean, you know, where I'm not.
Let you be a person.
Yeah, let me be a person. Just let me be. Just let me exist. You know, without me feeling that I am taking something away from them, and that's the thing for me, is not wanting to take away from a place where I'm living, but to be able to give back and to participate. But yeah, just decide what it is that you want to experience and find a place that would have that, and to not look. Don't go down the rabbit hole of looking at negative things that are said about a place. I mean, it's obviously important to do your due diligence, to do some research, but what you will continue to look for, you'll find. So if you find one negative thing and you're like, well, let me see if there's more, you're gonna find more. Like, that's just how this world works, especially with, you know, these here internets. You know, you can get
anything you want.
Any opinion you want will be amplified if you keep looking for it online. So, but most importantly, just following your intuition, and if you don't know what that is, following that gut feeling, following that feeling of irritation. Like, that's how it shows up for me sometimes. If I get real irritated to the point where I'm like, okay, no, you real irritated, then I sit back and think about, you know, what's going on, and, you know, reevaluate. But yeah, I think it's important for us to travel out of the country, wherever your home country is. It may not be the States, you know, it could be a Caribbean country, it could be Africa, you know, or something, not because Africa is a continent, not a country, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I think it's really important to get out of your comfort zone. You know, your problems are still going to be your problems, because they are you until you work on them.
You might encounter new ones as well.
You might you will encounter. You will. I mean, yeah. There are things that I've encountered. But I was like, oh, okay, wasn't expecting that to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but nothing that's been like, I'm just not like this was. Well, I take that back. There were a couple of times when I was in Bali and I was like, oh, I am not meant for this. What have I done to myself? Like, this is crazy. I'm going back.
What's one of those?
Where I had a driver so you out there, you have Grab and Gojek, which is like Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
And so I had a driver that picked me up to take me someplace, and he was like, you know, do you need a driver for the rest of your time here? And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be great, because I learned that that's how people do things.
Okay.
You know, they find people on that way. So he helped me get like a SIM card and helped me get it all set up with my phone. And then when I didn't want to like use him for the tours, I was like, I don't want to go on like a 2-day excursion on to the East Coast of Bali. Like, that's just not what I want to do. He like got mad and turned off my SIM card.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, that's how we roll out here.
Conditions.
Right, there's conditions, and I, again, feeling like an opportunity. Like, I'm an opportunity for you to make, and even like there were places where he would take me, where I'd said, like, I wanted to have a seafood dinner on the beach, and I don't want to go to a tourist place. He took me to the touristy, Jim Burren Beach.
He's like, you don't know what you want. I know what you want.
And I was like, this is not what I want. And then that happened, on more than one occasion, to the point where I was like, is he getting a kickback for bringing people here? Which I don't know if he was or wasn't, but very possibly. But the fact that was even something that crossed my mind was like, I don't want to be on guard. I don't want to have to be thinking, is this person going to take advantage? Is this real? Like, I don't want that to be part of my experience. So, yeah, everybody needs to travel. I think it's very important. I started off last year where I had a contract where I was working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I was still, building my coaching business, but I endeavored to go someplace every other weekend. And it was, like, I visited a girlfriend in Bakersfield one weekend. I went to LA, and then I went like home for the holidays, which I hadn't done in like a decade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I went back home again for Christmas, and I was like, y'all can get all of me now, because I don't know when I'm going to do this again. I ain't coming back next year. I don't know where I'm going to be, but I'm not coming back here.
Yeah.
And then I would go to like New York. So I would do these little trips.
And within the States, right?
Within the States. I mean, I did go to the Bahamas, and I went to Jamaica.
Okay, Jamaica?
Yeah, I went to Jamaica.
How was it?
I loved Jamaica.
Good.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. I was in Mobay for New Year's.
Okay.
And that was my thing last year, was that I wanted to end the year and start the year in a different country.
Nice.
That was, and I was like, and I want to go, I'll go someplace that's safe, where they look like me, where they speak my language.
Yeah.
And,
nice.
yeah, and I would have had no clue that now, almost a year later, that I would be in Vietnam for Thanksgiving, which I don't celebrate anyway, but just the idea that I'm here, and that I'll probably be here for Christmas or Africa if I decide to be there during that time.
It's funny how when you travel, like, things just happen that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
It's like it's a thing. I can't explain it, but it's like, if you do travel, you will experience something that you didn't think you would experience.
Right. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, it's because a lot of times I feel like people get that notion that they're going to experience something that's going to be like some life-altering negative situation, and really it could just be realizing the kindness of the local people and having a different perspective when you go back home.
True.
You know what I mean? And having a different appreciation for your neighbors, or just for your life when you go back home.
That's
true.
What's the best life advice you've received, or what's the philosophy that drives you, if you have one?
Best life advice or philosophy? Intuition. And that's something that I feel like people like hear the term but don't really know what it is, and don't know how it shows up in their lives and how to utilize it. But over these here 41 years that I've been on this earth, Hold up. You're 41? That's a lie, right? Are you serious? I'm closer to 42 than 41. I'll be 42 in March.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
The people in the comments are going to go crazy. You look like you're probably like maybe like 25.
No.
Are you for real? I thought you were joking. Oh my gosh.
You're like...
okay.
You should see your eyes right now.
So
they
young.
want to come out your face.
Okay. I think nobody's going to believe you when you watch the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am 41.
Okay.
I'm 41. This is what 41 looks like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're going somewhere.
I don't know where I was going to.
Intuition.
Oh yeah. So over the 41 years that I've been out here on Earth, I have figured out how intuition shows up for me, how it has helped me, and like just how important it is. I mean, because we are given signs, we're given things, internally and externally, and if we just listen, then our lives would be a whole lot easier than if we don't.
Yeah, this is true. So it's about identifying that thing. Right?
Identifying that thing, however it should, because we all have it. Like when I used to go to church in this place in Charlotte, the pastor used to talk about that you know that you know, and you're knower. And he's talking about, just knowing deep in your gut. And that always resonated with me because that's how I feel it. And I realized when I was younger, I would get stomach aches. And, when I think back to what was going on around those stomach aches and, that was my intuition speaking up, and now, like I said, I'll get irritated. I will get, so irritated. And it's because the stomach thing has not worn off, but it's kind of dissipated to a sense. But when I get irritated, I can't do anything, and that means that I can't do anything. And I need to stop and evaluate and figure out what it is that I need to do if I am in the flow or if I'm in the forcing mode. Because if I'm trying to force it, then something within me is like, no.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So I'd rather flow because here I am in Vietnam.
The flowing is good.
Flowing is good. Right. Flowing can feel, a little scary at times.
Yes. Like you have no control really.
Yeah.
Right?
You're giving, it's like you don't have control, but you do have control in a different way. You know what I mean? It's not the...
How would you...
So I feel like when you're in the flowing, you're allowing the natural order of things to happen. And the natural order of things is still you being in control, because I am a strong believer that we manifest our lives, and what we say is going to occur. What we think about is what's going to occur. So if you can harness that power, then and then add it to the flow versus force, you're creating your reality and you're creating your life, and you're letting things flow in the way that you truly want them to flow. It may not look like how you thought it was going to look, but the end result is still the same. Because, it may sound ridiculous, and it may sound flippant, and it may sound like really frou-frou, and it's like, okay, all right, let it flow. But no, just,
it's the way life works.
It's the way of life works.
Truth is stranger, what is it? They said what? Truth is stranger than fiction.
It is.
And it's the way things work.
That's right? Exactly right.
It is.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an experience, so trust.
Yeah.
Right?
And for me to do this, I have to go in that way on this journey, because if not, I'd probably be in a ball crying somewhere, because I'm like, it's not going the way I thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
But if it went the way I thought it was going to go, I don't know where I would be in this space.
Yeah.
And this is what I wanted. This peace, this calm, this laid backness, just meeting people, like the woman you met downstairs.
Yeah.
I met her on the beach literally one day.
Cool.
Yeah, so and if I hadn't that particular day been like, okay, we've got a limited amount of time before the rain comes, because we're in rainy season, and I want to go to the coffee shop and get a SIM card set up, reset up, and then go to the beach before the rain comes. And if I hadn't gone with what felt like I needed to do for that day, I may not have connected with her. I'm sure I would have connected with her at some point, because the city isn't that big and there aren't that many of us here. Right. So we would have, connected at some point, but the way that we did was the way that it really needed to be, for the journey that I'm on.
Okay.
So.
All right, so tell me, where can people find your life?
So you can find me. I'm on Facebook,
Okay.
Deisha Rosetta on Facebook, and then on Instagram as well, Deisha Rosetta.
So Deisha, thank you so much for sharing your story
You're
with
so
us.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
No problem. This
Yes.
was a good experience.
Good.
So
Yay.
guys, thank you so much for watching. This was Deisha. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and remember to subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on the Black experience across the globe. Until next time, thanks for watching and bye for now.
Toodles.